Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Dracorex Originals! And for this very special episode, we will be featuring the LEGO compatible custom Primeval series Dracorex. But before we head on with this video, I'd like to say thanks to youtube.com audio library for this awesome background music. If you're new to this channel, please like, share, and subscribe and hit that notification bell. Please also support my channel by not skipping on all the ads on all my videos. Thanks everyone! You may also like to follow me on all my social media platforms. We have Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LYKA. There I'll be posting some of my exclusive photos and videos as well. Thanks everyone, I'll see you there! The winners of the Guesses PC contest are up next, and here are the lucky picks. Emir, Mandiamar, Dinosaur, Lola Perez, Abdul Samad, Harley, Cezanne, Jersom, Draco, and Indo 101. Congratulations everyone! And now for our top 10 winners!
Top 10.
Glens Gilguera,
Top
Bertrand
9.
Rules,
Top 8.
Samuel David Diacaba,
Top 7.
Jack Tastic,
Top 6.
Tyrannosaurus Rex,
Top
Jurassic
5.
Rex,
Top 4.
BBN,
Top
Godzilla Dinosaurs, Lizards and all,
Top 2.
Colton Todd,
Top
and
1.
Maximum Power. Congratulations everyone, and I'll see you in the next Guesses PC contest! For those of you who'd like to join this contest, here's how! Just click on the Extinct Bricks icon and it will lead you to the Extinct Bricks homepage. And in that homepage, just click on the community link and it will lead you to all my posts. And from the anomaly comes out Dracorex Hogwartsha. I so love the Primeval series. How about you guys? Well, let's start with the making of the Dracorex. The Dracorex is actually a remake of the Dracorex from before that I had, but I had to remove all of the initial applications on this particular Dracorex because it's kind of outdated and I think the head sculpt needs a little bit of loving. Aside from changes in the head sculpt, I also made several changes to the body by, repositioning the tail and also repainting everything. So among the changes that I did to the sculpt would be adding several, scoots to the head, flattening the eye section a bit, and adding several more spikes on the head. There are also bumps in the topmost of the head, aside from it having just a flat one. I also included this one, which is, kind of a sail on the back of the Dracorex. The Primeval series actually has this, but I can actually remove it and put it back together if ever I would be, having it as a regular Dracorex only. So there you go. It took me around 2 to 3 hours to complete the entire sculpting of the head, as well as some certain adjustments into the shape of the body as well. But I think it's looking good for now and it's ready for painting. So here's the Dracorex after it has been primered. The primer that I use here will be a spray paint, Bosley number 68 in gray. Now that everything is actually dried, it's now ready for painting. But before that, we should also look into several references. So the Dracorex here would be somewhat colored, lightly on the underbelly as with other dinosaurs that I've done so far. And then the primary colors would include a moss green color with a little bit of orange on the back, as well as some turquoise or teal on the head sections. So as you can see here, most of the references that I actually use are, screenshots and photo stills from the actual series Primeval. So to start off with the colors, I actually painted the entire thing with this lightly colored, mixture of whites, yellows, and a little bit of green. This is of course in conjunction with the colors of the Dracorex Hogwartia in the Primeval series. Primeval is a British series in which it involves strange, unexplained anomalies that have ripped multiple holes in the fabric of time and space, allowing dangerous creatures from the distant past to lumber into the streets of modern Britain. Well, moving on with the paint. Here I actually mix a little bit of, green with the current existing white that I have and slathered it in, irregular shapes throughout the entire body of the creature. This will actually serve as a backdrop for the moss green that I will be applying on later. And after this has actually dried up, I then mixed, a moss green color, including, mixing some greens and yellow ochre, as well as a little bit of brown to achieve this particular color. Now, this moss green will be mostly on the top of its body, some on the legs, also some on the thighs, as well as that of the arms. The top section of the tail will also have this moss green color as well. The colors of the head will be a little bit lighter, so later on I will be mixing this with some more yellow as well as white, so that it will be more or less, striking when it comes to the head color. Moving on with the Primeval series description. A crack team of specialists were appointed by the government to investigate and control this creation or this creature incursions, creating the Anomaly Research Center, which is now jointly adjoined by the government by the entrepreneurial scientist Philip Burren. And one of the creatures actually that came out of the anomaly is the Dracorex Hogwartia. The Dracorex from that particular series actually sported this seal on the back, so I included this for this particular costume of mine. It also sports a teal colored markings on the head going towards the neck. The horns and spikes on its head is actually colored, a grayish white, but for the longer horns, I actually created somewhat of a gradient to it from lighter to darker gray. If you would remember, that is the same technique that I actually used for the Sinoceratops big horn. So if you haven't seen that video yet, so please check it out. Aside from the Dracorex, there's actually a lot of creatures that came out of the anomalies from this particular series, such as Tyrannosaurus Rex, Triceratops, even other dinosaurs, as well as Ice Age creatures such as Smilodon. Even a Columbian mammoth actually came out of the anomaly as well. So probably in the near future, I'll be making some of those. So if you think you like that particular series and you want these things to come into life in LEGO form, do comment below of what species that would be. It would be really helpful, and I'm really, glad to be reading some of your comments as well. So don't be shy, just comment ahead. So among the last details that I actually added to this creature would be, the nails and also the eyes. And then after that, I called it, done. After it's dried, I just sprayed a clear varnish for it, but the flat one, so that it won't be shiny. And that's it for the making of Dracorex. We can now move on to the next portion of this video, Assemblix, you can do it and let's vault in. So the Dracorex actually is consisted of 9 parts to it. The head actually has 2 parts to it already, but I already left the mouthpiece attached already because it's quite hard to put in. Now let's connect this one bit part on the body part. Then attach the topmost of this one. Alright. Then we can connect the legs. Let's start with the right leg and then with the left. Now it's time for the arms. Let's start with the left one and then with the right. And of course, the last piece for this puzzle would be the spines. So you can leave it out or put it in depending on what your mood is, whether or you want a spine or Dracorex with a sail or with or without it. And that's it for the Assemblix. Let us now move on with the next portion of this video. It's time for us to have a closer look. So for the closer look of this video, we have Moira here. And she came just to check on the enclosure of the Dracorex. So we have here the old Dracorex that I have, which I somehow repainted somehow, and the new Dracorex from the Primeval series. We're actually checking if these two would actually mate and create eggs for themselves, but we'll see. And as I've mentioned earlier, this Dracorex in particular is actually based off from the Primeval series Dracorex Hogwarts, which sports this particular sail on the back. Moira is really excited for this one, but she'll be back later for some size comparisons. But for now, let's have a closer look on the Dracorex. And here you have it. So taking a look at this particular custom figure closely, you can see that the color scheme is actually very similar to that of the series Dracorex. The sail on its back is actually colored orange, with the spines sticking out as brown. The head would actually have this teal colored detail on it. Let's just focus the camera a little bit so that you'll see on a more clearer view. And there you go. So you can see that the sections that surround the eye, as well as the nose and the parts of the neck, would have the teal colored detail to it. It has several spikes on the head as well as the nose area, and also on the back portion of the head. The back portion of the head will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 horns on each side, so that's around 12 horns all in all. The arms and the legs actually has this darker shade to it, and the details on the body will have this gradient of darker moss green and a little bit lighter yellow green on the lower portions. It can actually open and close its mouth, and it can turn its head from side to side. It also can have its legs movable and its arms movable as well. The top portion of the Dracorex, I actually removed all of it. It's actually removable as such, and you can either have this Dracorex with or without the spines or the sail on its back. To be honest, I would prefer it to look like this one, but nonetheless, I'm still happy with it. Here is the previous Dracorex that I have. This is the female Dracorex. You can see that I have recolored it a little bit so that it would somehow match the current Dracorex that I have here. So among the changes that I did for this one would be, of course, making several adjustments of colors to the head, as well as colors to the spikes on its head, and also added several more details to the body as well. Here is a closer look for you to see the details. Okay, so I guess that's it for our closer look on the Dracorex. We can now move on with the next portion of this video. it's time for us to have the size comparisons. And of course, for the size comparisons, I'm bringing out more again here for us to have a better look, or at least proportion, into how it actually looks like with a regular minifigure here. And if you're going to compare this with the actual size comparison with a human and also a dinosaur, actually it's a little bit smaller, but nonetheless it's around the same size, I guess. And now let's move on with the next comparison. This is of course the Extinct Bricks Dracorex version 1. Now for the version 1, I've actually repainted this already, but maybe soon I will also be, adjusting several more details to it in the near future, but we'll see. And that's it for the female Dracorex for you guys. We can now move on to the next comparison. This is the Extinct Bricks Homalocephaly. This is actually based off from the Homalocephaly that you have in Jurassic Park Operation Genesis. Now, if you can probably already see the trend here, we're actually showing in all of the Pachycephalosaurids that I have. So that's the Homalocephaly for you guys. Definitely smaller than that of the Dracorex. Now for the next one, we have here the LYKA Stygimoloch. This Stygimoloch actually appeared in many series already for Lego Jurassic World, and I think it really looks nice, but in terms of, comparing it with the real thing, it's not comparable. So I did the next size comparison here, the Extinct Bricks Stygimoloch. Now for this particular version, you can see that I have really arranged the positioning of the spikes or the horns on its head, like so that it will look more accurate to that of the actual creature. Similar to the Lego Stygimoloch, we can actually also remove the horns as well. It's just that it's positioned on a more realistic basis. This Stygimoloch is a little bit more, larger than the Dracorex. Well, that's it for our Stygimoloch. Let's now move on with the Extinct Bricks Pachycephalosaurus. This is the version 1. This is actually the very first custom that I did, and I'm really proud of it, even though it's really simple, but it's actually based off from the Lego Pachycephalosaurus. And since the Pachycephalosaurus is actually my favorite dinosaur, I remade this one into this version, and I'm really liking how it looks like. It's more accurate to the actual dinosaur, and it also has several more additional articulations to it, such as putting down the neck like so, and then having it into an action like a battering ram. And bringing out Moira here, you can see the size differences between the two creatures. Definitely the Pachycephalosaurus is much more larger than that of the Dracorex Hogwartsia. And that's all I got for you now on the size comparisons. Let's now move on with this PC roll call. But before we head on with this one, I'd like you to comment below what other Pachycephalosaurus you'd like to see next, or if you have other creatures in mind that you'd like to see me make on the next custom for Extinct Bricks. Moira would also like to remind you guys that all the species that you see here is actually available in the Extinct Bricks playlist. So if you haven't seen any of them, or you haven't seen some of them yet, please do check it out, guys. Also, I'll be placing the links of all the creatures that you see here so that it would be easier for you to check them out. Now let's start with this PC roll call. This is the Extinct Bricks Homalocephaly from Jurassic Park Operation Genesis. Extinct Bricks Dracorex from Jurassic World Evolution. Extinct Bricks Stygimoloch from Jurassic World. And of course, the Extinct Bricks Pachycephalosaurus from The Lost World. And of course, the star of the show here, we have the Extinct Bricks Dracorex from the Primeval series. And I hope you guys like it. And let's now move on with the last portion of this video. This is the last looks. Now, the name Dracorex actually came from the Latin words Draco meaning dragon and Rex meaning king. Its species name is actually also based off from the school that Harry Potter came from, which is Hogwarts. It lived in the late Cretaceous period around 65 million years ago and is part of the Pachycephalosauridae family. It can grow up to a length of 9.4 feet, a weight of 69 kilograms, and a height of 3.9 feet. Isn't it just fun to see pets, pairing around and falling in love with each other, and soon they'll have babies? Well, that's it for the video on the Dracorex Hogwarts. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And please also don't forget to support the channel of our babies, The Adventures of Moira and Usher. Watch their videos and support their channel as well by subscribing. And as we always would say, let your inner dino break roar! Thanks everyone! Bye!